soundtrack.
What is up? Welcome back to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs Television. Once again, it's your boy Kier, and today in the studio we have actress and model Grace Park Bassett. How you doing today, Grace?
Doing great, thanks.
Well, great, great.
Jer?
Oh, good. It's good to have you on the show. So, Grace, you and I actually worked on a project a few weeks ago, or a month ago, I should say. That was my first time actually working with you. But I was curious, just in terms of acting and modeling, how did you get involved in that initially?
You know, it's a funny thing. I had always wanted to do that when I was a kid, but things just kind of got shelved with life. And then I guess when I was going through a divorce, I thought, you know what, this is a chance for new beginnings. And speaking of new beginnings, this is something I had always just wanted to do. But now I've got opportunity and some time, so here I am. And certainly when I was a kid, people of color, that was just something you just did not see as far as their stories being told.
Absolutely.
And I thought, you know, I would just love to be able to help put some more, Asian stories up there for kids to see and read about and hear. And so that was very much a huge motivator for me.
Absolutely. So then obviously you took some time, and then now you've kind of got back into the acting and modeling. And how has that been since getting back into it?
It's been great. I mean, it's fun. I mean, I feel like I'm finding my groove again. So this is great.
And I know you've been doing some traveling as well. So you do some acting here in Sacramento, but you've also been doing some things down in Southern California as well?
Well, actually, it was an industry network event, actually. So it was a networking with industry professionals down in LA, as well as competitions as far as a number of different categories for acting, modeling, and singing. And I actually won honorable mentions in just about every single category, and then second place for my headshot, which I was like, oh lovely. Thank you.
Very cool. So you're a singer as well?
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of music do you prefer to sing?
I would say a lot of jazzy Broadway, show tunes, and also just, a lot of jazzy, the old 1940s jazzy type stuff is great. And then some of the new modern stuff like Billie Eilish.
Okay. Okay. And have you always been a singer, or is that something you got into recently as well? I
was always singing as a kid. I mean, if there was any opportunity for singing, I was singing. Anytime there was a musical that came out, I was the kid who knew all the songs and would drive everybody nuts singing in the car.
Absolutely. And then going back to just like the modeling and that sort of thing. So you've been doing modeling here in Sac as well as in LA as well?
Yeah, just starting to, yes.
And how has that been going here in the Sacramento market?
So I feel like I'm just starting off, but it's exciting. It's certainly looking good right now. And I'm finishing going through some of my I had I would say like at least a dozen callbacks, including a few modeling agencies who wanted me to sign with them. So I'm considering my options.
Very cool. Yeah, I know Sacramento. I mean, obviously it's a much smaller city compared to like the Bay or Los Angeles or any of those areas. And I was just curious, what the modeling scene looks like here in Sacramento, or the acting scene for you here in Sacramento versus say like Los Angeles and some of the bigger cities.
Well, so far, I would say I'm still pretty early in my career, but it's very exciting being here in the Sacramento area because you actually can do projects.
Right.
You actually can get in.
Right. I think that could be an advantage sometimes, right?
And actually, one of the feedback points I got on my singing by one of the judges who critiqued me with numbers and really detailed for each of my 3 songs. She said, well, her number one thing for me was just get more practice singing in public, any place that wouldn't charge me to perform. And I thought, I live in the Sacramento area. That's a lot easier to do than in
absolutely.
LA.
They have open mics
people
nights
have
and
to
things as
buy tickets to,
right.
Book venues and far more performers than would be venues. And so it's nice in that if you're motivated, you could certainly find opportunities to get to perform and hone your skill and craft here.
No, absolutely. I think that's a beauty about Sacramento is that we're not a very big city in that regard, and not necessarily known for acting and modeling and singing per se. So you have a lot more opportunity, I feel like, to kind of break your way into the business.
Yes, and a chance to explore, as opposed to going in pigeonholed already.
Right.
Which is nice if you're still trying to figure out what exactly you enjoy doing. And
Yeah, because I mean, like you said, you've got your eggs in kind of 3 different baskets, and they all could definitely succeed. But you never know; you may find one that you want to gravitate a little bit more to than the other as you advance in your career.
I would say that acting is definitely my primary love, but the other 2, I mean, they're definitely fun, and I've always had an artistic sense of wanting to do artistic endeavors and creative project. So.
For sure. Well, outside of the project that I know you and I worked on, which is actually going to be premiering in a couple of weeks here, what are some of the other projects that you've been working on or are currently involved in at this time?
Let's see. I guess fairly recently, I was working on a K-drama with my with the group, and so that was interesting because I had to revisit, I guess, speaking Korean, which, having come to the U.S. when I was 3. I have the spoken, yeah, I mean the ear for it. So
right, you can hear
I can
it.
have total conversations with my mother where she's talking to me in Korean and I will reply back in English.
Right.
But to actually think of the words in real time to have a conversation, that it's just not there. And so having a script, I said, okay, I can do blow by blow translations of kids at a playground, fine, no problem. But if you want me to do this, I'm going to need you to write out what you want me to say.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Help me out here.
Yeah, for sure. And I can definitely imagine if it's not something you're used to speaking on a day-to-day basis, you're going to probably need a little bit more refresher on that for sure.
But then,
And that's with Shutter Films then?
Yes. That's
Okay,
correct.
great. Yeah. Well, that's great.
And they're a very exciting young group, and I was thrilled to see that Troy, he's an Asian filmmaker, which that is obviously I guess if you look at Hollywood and the people who are in TV and film productions, that is the most underrepresented group.
No, absolutely. There's
in the industry.
Yeah,
so
no, absolutely. Especially
exciting.
as directors,
And it's certainly a very diverse group, and I love that.
Yeah, no, it's always great when they shine through, and every once in a while you get a Best Picture winner, like I can't think of the name of the film right now, but yeah, it is.
All Things Everywhere All at Once.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's always good whenever there is that representation there. So I think that's a big plus. So what are you hoping to do next? I mean, where do you foresee your career going in this acting, modeling, singing world? I mean, obviously you said acting is kind of where you're really putting most of your focus at, but what are your hopes? What are your goals in that regard?
I would like to do some more major films, feature films. And I guess eventually one day I would like to do some screenwriting and perhaps work up to production as far as film directing and production.
Very
that
cool.
would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But right now it's great just kind of learning behind the scenes and getting to be in front of the camera. So.
Absolutely. Well, you're off to a really, really great start, and I definitely look forward to seeing some of the new projects you're going to be working on, and we definitely can't wait to have you back here again on the show. Before we let you go, though, where can we find you?
Oh, yes. I've got an Instagram at Bassett_Grace. And so, yeah, that's...
Find you there. Absolutely. Well, you know where to find her, and hopefully you'll get some calls, and, we'll see you in some more big projects here in the near future. Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, great. Well, thanks for being on the show once again.
Sure. And it was super fun working with you on,
on
that little flick we did.
Yeah, likewise. Likewise, it was fun working with you also. Well, thank you so much for watching another edition of SacTown Movies Above Television. We'll be back again with another show for you. Have a great day.